I guess my question for you is, okay, obviously giving, you have to start with giving, but let's say you've built these close relationships. How do you turn them into actual sales in your business, or have you seen other people do it? And can you give some examples of it?
Yeah. I mean, Adam Grant wrote a great book about, give and take, and about the most successful people are givers and the least successful are givers.
Yeah.
Because the least successful, because they're not thinking strategically about giving. It's not like, when I think about giving, I don't necessarily have expectations of, getting something in return. But if you're connecting to the right people, that will happen naturally. And you're connecting to the wrong people, that won't happen, or people who aren't other givers, right? So I guess, so your question is more on making sure, how do you keep focus with so many, relationships or things? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I guess there's different levels of one, there's picking the right guests that have on that actually strategic value to your business. And then two is, okay, if they're a potential partner, how do you follow up after the podcast? Because it could be a little bit awkward that you have someone in the context of you're interviewing them, you're featuring them. And then now you're like, okay, do you want to become a client or do you want to become a partner? How do you walk that line?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that's a good question. And so there's two things there. One is how do you move that relationship forward, that interview into maybe a referral partnership or client, okay? And then it's like, how do you get not overwhelmed, and how do you focus in on what is most important? So the first question is similar to what I was saying before, but listen, when you're on the call and you tell, you're telling the audience, hey, if you, on the interview, if you're looking for creating the best blockbuster content in the world, I have the methodology, I have the courses, Michael Simmons, check it out, right? So, and then you go on and you do the interview. The person already knows what you do. You don't have to hit them over the head with it, right? And so for me, it's more of okay, they know what you do, and you have to be clear about what you do to people, right? And then that's what a lot of people maybe, and I have definitely historically had this problem, is not even telling people, not even worried about myself and worried more about other people, and not even letting people know what I do. So now at least I let them know what I do, and so they know, and being very clear about what I do, right? And so some people are also not so clear on what they do to the universe, to themselves, to the messaging on their webpage. But if you're super clear with someone and go, hey, this is what I do, and then just serving them, they already know what you do. And when you serve them, you don't need to hit them over the head with it. They go, okay, they'll think, okay, when someone wants to launch or run a podcast, Jeremy seems really knowledgeable. He seems like a great person. I totally trust him. I'll send him his way. I don't need to keep hitting him over the head with, hey, if you have any people who want to launch or run a podcast, call me. They know what I do. So I feel like just one, you bring up a good point. When you're giving to people, those people, when you have them on the podcast, you have let them know what you do, because in the podcast realm, when we talk about it, you mentioned at the very beginning, here's exactly what I do. Okay. And so then it just becomes about giving that person. And from a referral partner, strategic partner standpoint, Michael, sometimes I'll just be totally upfront. Someone will come on and go, listen, I totally admire your work. I love your work. I love what you do. And that's why I want to have you on. And I want to collaborate with you deeper. I want to do something with you in the future. I don't know what it is, but I'd love to collaborate, right? It could be a webinar that we do together. It could be maybe we just do an email for each other to our clients or our referral partners. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I'll just say, I love your work. I love to collaborate further. Whatever that looks like, I don't know. And sometimes we'll just brainstorm right there. What could we do together? What do we do to continue the relationship? And sometimes I don't know the answer, and I just bring it up, and we actually have a dialogue about it. But depending on my rapport with someone, I'll just say that, right up front.
Yeah. At the end of after you interview them, you'll say,
well, yeah. Yeah, at the end, I go like, one of the reasons I want to have you on is I totally admire your work. I love what you do. And I'd love to find a way that we can collaborate in the future. What that looks like, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. And
Yeah. So
that's it.
So what I hear you saying at some level is to make a sale, there's multiple steps. And at the very basic level, people should like and trust you, that. And number two, being clear about what you do. Because if they don't know what you do, then they're not going to connect the dots. And then even just broaching the idea of, I like of your work, I'd love to find a way to collaborate. It makes it more of a discussion and a portion. And so you can kind of see how that lands. Some people might be really excited, like, yeah, let's do that. How do we do that? So it's kind of like dating. You're planting the seeds and then seeing what comes back at you. It sounds like what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And I don't have a set plan in mind. Most times I'm just like, there's something, whatever that is. And sometimes that other person will have a better idea than I did. Like I've had people go, oh yeah, I could see. And they listed 3 things. I'm like, that sounds great. I would have never come up with that. But you bring up a good point. I guarantee you, Mike, there's people in your network right now that you love and you kind of know what they do, but you're not exactly sure. And there's people in my network too. They're not like really crystal clear in communicating. Let's say they're an executive coach, but you're not clear on, okay, what type of companies or what type of people. If they were super clear on that messaging, you would go, okay, you help women leaders who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And you'll know when you come across someone like that, you need to go to whoever, right? So it's part about making sure you're clear on your messaging, what you do and who you serve. So it makes it more referable. I think, mutual friend Michael Roderick said this once. He said, like, being unclear is kryptonite to a connector. And if you don't know what someone is, how are you supposed to connect them to someone else?